All right. Welcome to another video this week. This is Dan from Binaural Recording Sights and Sound. We don't really have a normal video this week, so I'm going to be talking more about my equipment items. Today we have the STRUT field case and the Zoom F3 and the binaural microphone set from SonicPresence. So we're going to be discussing kind of this whole setup here, and since I'm discussing the setup, I'm not really able to wear this setup because I kind of need it to be able to show you guys certain things and aspects about it. So first thing, we're going to be going into this whole reason why I kind of got into this stuff. I'm pretty sure everybody's at some point in time, if you've gone into binaural audio, if you looked into it, you've probably seen or heard the binaural haircut viral video that went around where somebody was wearing these microphone sets in their ear and actually was receiving a haircut. And just that feeling and that sensation was what kind of got me into thinking that that would be cool to have something like that, to be able to do something like that on my own. I didn't really want to get into ASMR. That's kind of a weird territory of sound, in my opinion. I wanted to get more into like sound of stuff and things, and just kind of like what it sounds like when you go to the store. What does it sound like when you go through the car wash? What does it sound like on top of a mountain? I kind of wanted to see if you could capture those kind of effects with sound, and that's the reason why I kind of got into this stuff here. So we're going to be taking a look at some multiple different equipment items I've put together into one object to actually make this a functioning unit. The things that I have here, there's multiple different things kind of put together. One of the things we have is the Zoom F3. That's kind of the heart of the device. This relatively new device from Zoom, it's been out for a couple years now, but when it first came out, it was kind of almost like the first of its kind, and how small it was and what it was able to do. It's a full 32-bit float recording system, and there's not really been other things like that before. So I'll go ahead and unzip this and take it out of there so we can kind of see it a little bit better. So this is the unit itself that I have. I have the binaural headsets kind of plugged into the top of it. But this small little palm-sized unit is able to output or have two inputs for stereo input, left and right channel. They can be independent from one another as well, but it has 32-bit float support, which allows you to be a lot easier to record very loud sounds and very quiet sounds. Just having that ability makes it so much easier to not have to constantly dial in or turn a knob or worry about if something's going to get captured or not. The only real thing you have to worry about when it comes to that is, are your microphones actually rated for something like that? The microphones that I have plugged in here is the SonicPresence binaural headset. This is the XLR variant. I've upgraded this microphone headset to actually have these little fluffs on the end of it. This fluffy material blocks a lot of the wind noise and other air kind of effects from going into the microphone. They curl up and go around the ear. They're kind of comfortable to wear. The only real thing I wish that was better with this is the cable on it. The cable's kind of almost like that old plasticky kind of headphone cable that headphones used to have. It's not a very quality cable in my opinion, and I worry about the longevity of it because at the ends here where this like stress connector thing is designed to actually keep it from wearing out, in a way is actually making it wear out faster. So as it's turning right here, as you see, it rubs against that plastic like little tube that's in there, and that actually messes with the wire itself. For now it's still holding up, but it is showing signs of thinning and a little bit of wear and tear on it, and I'm not sure the longevity of it. It has lasted almost 2 years now, so I guess it's just kind of my daily use of it. I try to be very careful with my equipment and technology that I have, just because I like to use it, so it's got to stay good quality for quite a long time. More things about this device. It is AA powered. It has an SD card slot on the side that you can actually put an SD card on it. It has a quarter 20 spot on the bottom that you can mount it. Although a little bit of oversight on that is these little metal bars here that's designed for like a belt loop block that. So you kind of need to put a tripod shoe or something on it to be able to mount that there, unfortunately. It does have a line out on the bottom and also a headphone jack on the bottom as well. The volume controller there is the volume control for the headphones, not for the device itself. You can adjust some of that stuff on the screen, but for the most part, it's handled internally inside, and you fix that in post-production. Some more stuff about this thing here. This is really small, and it's very compact and convenient. The belt holder on the back is not something that I would use, and I've had troubles with that actually mounting it to my other belt that I have, the spider belt from the last video you guys watched with that. As when you put that on there, it completely blocks the ability to open up the battery case on the back to replace the batteries, and it's just more of a frustration as it's closer to your body, so your cables are going to be rubbing up against yourself, and it just has a whole bunch of other issues like that. So to alleviate some of those shortcomings with the device, this is why I purchased the STRUT field case. This field case from this company called STRUT, they're like a small company that kind of make field recorder cases for various different use cases. In this case here, they made one for the Zoom F3. This was one of the very first ones that were on the market for the Zoom F3 field recorder. So it does have some shortcomings with it. It's not perfect by any means. It is a little spendy as well, but it being made in America and handmade at that kind of justify the price, I guess. But there is some stuff that I kind of don't like about it in that case here. So some of the stuff that you have the ability to put your Zoom F3 into this carrier here. It does have a clear plastic window on the front to be able to view the screen and push the buttons through the plastic part there. It does have subtle branding. You could use a Sharpie to kind of clear this off, or if you really wanted to unstitch it, you could probably remove this little badge if you just wanted it to be black for whatever your use case is. Just know that that is on there. On the inside, there's this little kind of pouch thing that goes over the top of the Zoom F3. I've never liked this pouch. This part of the pouch here is not well designed for the device. Yes, it does hold it in there when you put it on there, but the opening that's on the top here isn't big enough to accommodate both plugs side by side. It could be good if you have like one thing plugged into it, but to have both, you're really going to be stressing this opening right here, and without any elastic on it, I feel like that this was kind of a shortcoming, or they just didn't really think that part through of the design. So to get around that, I just tuck it inside here. If you tuck it in and kind of push it off to the edge there, that allows the Zoom F3 to kind of sit along the side there and not be bothered by it too much. It does, however, affect your ability to get the pouch from the outside, because on the pouch itself, you do have zippers on both the left and the right side to be able to reach in to get to the side things on Zoom F3. Like one of them is the power plug, you have the SD card slot, on the other side you have the power button, you have the Bluetooth module thing that I don't have installed, and you have the on-off switch, which is also the hold switch as well. So that allows you to unzip it, poke your finger in there and push those buttons or settings, and allows you to use them. However, when you fold the strap part down, you do have to make sure that the inner zippers unzipped as well, so that way you can actually see through both zippers. So just be aware of that. If you do decide to do this way, you do have to kind of work around that. Some of the other features of this is on the back here, this is actually designed to go on a belt loop system, but if you want to carry a battery with it, which is what I like to do, I have this little anchor battery that's on the back here. It's a flat battery, power core cell, I can't remember which one it is. It's an older battery, but this thing is definitely powerful enough to power the device for, I think we were out almost 18 hours one day I was using it, if it's just used on the Zoom F3. And that was me just leaving it on between times when I was using it and just letting it idle. So it wasn't in constant use where it was recording. It was just kind of on and off throughout the day. But I got almost 18 hours of battery life on this here with this setup that we have on the back here. The belt loops on the back, I feel it wouldn't really work well on a belt. I'll just be straight up with that. It's good at holding a battery, but I would not want this on my belt just because of the way that this kind of closes on there and releases to it. It is a kind of thick, wide pocket, so your belt kind of will slip and slide through it, and it doesn't hold very tight against the belt, which is kind of a bad part for it. That's why I've had to engineer different ways of going around it that's different from what they expected use cases for it. So I put the battery in the back there. It is strapped on there with this strap system that was designed to hold a belt, but now it's holding this flat battery. And I use just the D-rings that hold it up instead. So these D little ring hook parts here allow you to put on the shoulder strap that it does come with. It does come with a branded shoulder strap. I've found other things like my belt system that has that metal key holder that's able to hold it up with the same D rings that you have right here. So some of the other things that are a little weird on this pouch. On the bottom here you have this pouch area to be able to access the stuff from the bottom. On the back where this battery connects here, let me take this off for a real second. I forgot I Velcroed this to the thing. If you don't have a Velcro on your battery, it will slide off. So that's why I have this little patch of Velcro on the battery there to hold it so it doesn't slide out. So this pouch right here, this part that is designed for your belt to be able to put it on the loops there, and this front pocket here where you can actually access the bottom, it's only being held on with like a very thin strap on there. Like that's the only thing holding this whole panel on here, is just that one stitch. That makes me a little uncomfortable using it for like belt loops and stuff, just because this doesn't give me a lot of confidence it will stay on my belt. Along with some of the other things like these stitching on these parts right here, just kind of, I don't feel like that they have the precision that maybe a machine would have been able to do, because it is handmade. But it holds up for what I've needed it for. It has not failed on me yet. Knock on concrete table. So it's worked. It's just I would have liked it to have been designed a little bit better for that. So go ahead and put this back on here. Try to put it back together here if I can remember how all this went together. This went on here first. Then this came up. This attaches down here in the middle. And then these kind of go along the outside there. And with all that together, the battery system is hooked to it. I do have this double 90-degree angle cable. Actually, this one's more like, I don't know, not quite 90 degrees. But it comes upwards like that. and then you have this 90-degree here that's for the USB-C type. That allows me to use the battery when it's plugged in like that. I can actually have the zoom inside of the pouch, and this here could actually fish down the side and be able to plug into it to provide it continuous power. Because with AA's, it doesn't last very long. It maybe lasts anywhere from 50 minutes I've had it go to about 2 hours. Just depends on what settings you have it on and what you're using it with. So put that back in there. Try to make sure I got everything back together here. So zip that back together at the top. And there it is, it's back in the pouch. With this mounted on your belt, you can just unstrap that and slide the whole thing up and out, and then you have the device in your hand, which is convenient, so you don't have to worry about if it's connected to your belt, can you get access to it. So one thing I forgot to do before I put that on there is actually put the USB port. So I plug this in that direction there, and then drop it down in. Sits right inside the bag pouch. That allows me to kind of hook everything together. And now it's good. So now it can be powered. You can easily carry it with you. It keeps everything all self-contained and together, and it works for what it needs to do. Other thoughts on this? I like the extra defense that it gives the Zoom F3. It keeps it from getting scratched up. It keeps it a little bit more water resistant. It is not waterproof. In fact, if you do get it wet, it does soak into this fabric. So this fabric is not water shearing. It is absorbent. I'm not sure what type of material this is, but it does soak in and get wet. It does keep the device on the inside fairly dry though, because while it does soak in, it feels damp. It like doesn't transfer water and stuff to your devices. So just be aware of that. We found that out during the waterfall trip over to Yosemite, whatever you call it. When it did get wet, it started to soak into it. So just be aware of that when you go through it, if you wanted to go through and purchase this. It does come with zipper suppressors already built into it, which is more convenient. I was looking at one of the other cases, like the Orca, I think it was, and that one didn't actually have any zipper suppressors built into it. So for that reason is why I chose to get this one versus the other one. They're both about the same price. I think this is $100 for this thing. It is a little expensive for a lot of people. I can understand that. If you're really on the fence about it, it just kind of depends on what your use case is for it. I found it was worth for what I needed it and the applications I was going to use it for. You know, I wanted to enhance the Zoom F3 with battery capability, keeping it small as possible, and being able to have other ways to mount it and have it on my person, versus if I just had this device raw on my person. So I can understand a lot of people saying that it's way too expensive and they wouldn't buy it. Just know kind of what you're getting into. It is a handmade device. It is made in America. It's got decent quality materials. Just kind of the stitching is a little on the underwhelming side for me. It's held up. I've not had it fall apart in any way, knock on concrete table. But just be aware that if you're using it in a hard use environment, like if you're out rugged on the trail, or if this is to be used with like weddings and stuff like that, it might not last that long. Just be aware of that. Overall though, I'm happy with it. It's held together and it's been a vital part of my useful kit for a while. It has had its ups and downs for those reasons that I've kind of outlined on it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to really say about that part there. Hopefully you guys like these binaural headphones. from SonicPresence. This is the XLR variant. We already kind of talked a little bit about them. I did have to upgrade them with the little fluffs on them to try to deaden the wind sound, because by default they're really vulnerable to it. So adding those on there really amplifies the effects and helps it out. Overall though, that's all I have for this device. This is all the things, these are all my thoughts. I've not been paid to do any of this stuff. This is just kind of, I'm looking at my equipment. I've known that I've not really talked about it in a while, so this is more me discussing and talking it with it in an open environment. I don't really do any scripting for this. This is all kind of just rambly, so hopefully it's coherent and the thoughts are getting across on what I like about it and what I don't like about it. But that's going to be our video for the week for the most part. So overall review of this device, the Zoom F3, really like that a lot. If I had to give it a star rating, I'd say probably 5 out of 5 on that. It's small, it's compact, it does what I need it to do. It's always been a super workhorse. It has been basically heat proof. This is the one device that I've had that has not overheated. I've had cameras overheat, Osmos overheated, phones overheated. All of these things have overheated, but I've never had this overheat. And I've operated in areas where it's over 120 degrees outside, being in Arizona. So that's a pretty good standard for this device there. It's very heat resistant. The sound quality that you get out of it is really high. I really like the quality of sound that I get out of it. The preamps are pretty low noise. I don't really notice a noise on them too bad. Dealing with the file sizes is good. 32-bit float is a little big, so just so you know that, but if you have modern day storage and if you're dealing with video work stuff, you're probably not going to be worried too much about the sound things. Being able to switch this to stereo, mono, and 2-channel is very useful. I've used it a couple times in other applications where I've had like 2 individual mics in different spots and was recording with this. It is nice that it does the full stereo just so you can have the smallest binaural headset possible when you're carrying this thing around here. Other things about the Zoom F3, I wish that the Bluetooth was built in. It's not. You have to have an extra module to put in there, and that's like another 40, 50 bucks for that. It would be cool to have, although I don't really have a lot of applications for it, which is why I don't own it. But it would have been cool to kind of have that to be able to have on your phone and like monitor it from there, especially if you're going to like put it somewhere else and remotely monitor it. That could be useful. So Zoom F3, 5 out of 5 stars. I like that. The SonicPresence headset, it's lasted me this long, so it's a testament to its build quality and strength. I would have liked the cable quality to be a little bit better. The plugs, I believe, are actual, are they Nutric? Yeah. They're actually good high quality plugs. So those are good there. So they're really good plugs, really good kind of interface to the ear here. And the wire is something that I don't really like about it. So overall, if I had to give star rating on that, probably be 4 out of 5. And that 1 star down is for the cable. I don't like the cable. I wish the cable was better. It would have been cooler if this was like a removable cable, in my opinion. Like if there's a way to like screw these onto the end of the XLR spot and then screw it onto the end over here. Kind of like how inner ear monitor headphones work. You know, those like inside ear plug things that are like Apple ear pods, but without the wireless aspect to it. It actually has a cable to it. A lot of those devices have really nice braided cables, copper cables, and they're just a lot more durable than this kind of plasticky headphone kind of material. So that's my feelings and ratings kind of on that piece. The STRUT field case, it works for my application. There probably is stuff that's better out there. If I had to give this a star rating, this would probably be 2.5 stars. It's not the best of devices out there, not the best case. And a lot of that comes down to the price. If this was maybe like $50 or $25, then this would be a 5-star buy, but at $100, I just don't feel like that the quality's all the way there for that price. It is made in America. It does use good materials. I feel like the hand building aspect of it and the stitch work could be better, and maybe a rethink of the design of it. You know, having that pouch thing that kind of goes over the top of the device is a problem, because you can't put both of the plugs, which this device is specifically designed to do, on the top there. So it's like impeding an actual function of it. It would be also nice if it was designed better to be able to handle a battery. Like, it'd be nice if I could put a smaller battery inside there that is more the shape and form factor of the Zoom F3, but if it just had its own pouch or pocket to be able to put it in there to be able to handle it. Instead of kind of having to Mickey rig it on the back here to make it work. Like, I don't think it was specifically designed for that, even though they show it on their website. It's more just an afterthought, I feel. So 2.5 stars on that. Just overall for the price. The price alone probably drops to that 2 stars, and then 0.5 star for that build quality. That's my input on that. But overall, that's what I have for this piece of equipment. If you guys would like to know anything more about it, please comment below. I'll try to answer comments. If you have any questions on anything or any of the stuff that I do, how to make this stuff work, feel free to ask that question in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you guys as soon as possible. Overall, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video this week. Sorry it's not binaural. It's kind of hard to do binaural recording when you have the binaural thing here on the desk that you're going to be reviewing. Otherwise, it'd be in my ears and all the other stuff there. So next week, we're going to try to get you guys something cool to watch. Not sure exactly what we're going to be doing or what we have planned yet. It is pretty hot outside still, so a lot of our outdoor activities are limited just because of 110-degree heat consistently is not fun. And my devices, except for this one, hate the heat. So see you guys next week. Please like, subscribe. Hopefully you guys like these types of videos. I know the last one didn't get a lot of views, but I'll see you guys next week for another video from Binaural Recording Sights and Sound. Have a good one. That seemed a little rambly. I don't know if my thoughts were coherent there. Okay.